Imagine someone telling you that you had been free for 2.5 years, and this is the first time you're hearing about it. I think that's only part of the story of Juneteenth. I hate that this is the reality of the white American experience, but even someone like me who has extensively studied history didn't know about Juneteenth until, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. And Juneteenth wasn't even established as a federal holiday until the year 2021, which is frankly not only shocking, but is so illustrative of all that has gone wrong with the way we treat race and racism and slavery in the United States. And because I knew so little, I wanted to learn the actual history behind it, other than this was the day in 1865 that the final group of enslaved people were actually notified that they had been free. The Emancipation Proclamation was issued in 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln. Juneteenth commemorates June 19th, 1865. This is the part that blows my mind every single time I think about it, that it took more than 2.5 years for some enslaved people in Texas to learn that they were free. I read primary sources and I realized the reality is somehow more unsettling than just the 2.5 years. Because it wasn't just that information traveled slowly, which is what I had assumed, but by the spring of 1865, the Civil War was effectively over. In April, Robert E. Lee had surrendered in Appomattox, and yet the final battle of the Civil War was fought in May of the same year in Texas. And in June, Black Union soldiers were already in Galveston, so rumors were starting to spread. People were talking. I actually read an account from one white observer complaining that Black soldiers were putting ideas into the minds of enslaved people, which is just... let's just say that's a remarkable thing to complain about when the ideas that they were putting in their heads was freedom. Yeah, sit with that for a second. So this was not simply a story about people not knowing. It was also a story about white people resisting change and resisting freeing their enslaved people. As a white person born and raised in the United States, I am hoping to amplify this story so that more people know about it. But it's still crazy to me that even 2.5 years after the Civil War had started, and Robert E. Lee had already conceded that there were still people on the ground trying to prevent the freeing of the enslaved people. This is part 1 of 2 videos because there's no way I can do it justice in only 3 minutes. So I promise you I will link part 2 after I post it, and I promise you I will post part 2 as soon as I can.